Here's the script for the first 3 sections of the outline, written in an engaging and in-depth. Imagine a world where you wake up every day feeling completely at peace with yourself. A world where you look in the mirror and smile, truly loving the person staring back at you. Sounds too good to be true? Well, it's not. This is the power of self-love, and it's something we all can achieve. Today, we're diving into the life-changing wisdom of Louise Hay, a woman who taught millions how to love themselves and transform their lives. But why should you care about loving yourself first? Think about it this way. Have you ever tried to pour water from an empty jug? It's impossible, right? The same goes for love. If you're running on empty, always putting others first and neglecting your own needs, how can you possibly have enough love to give to others? That's where self-love comes in. It's like filling up your own jug first, so you have plenty to share with the world. Now you might be thinking, sure, self-love sounds great, but how do I actually do it? Don't worry, we've got you covered. In this guide, we're going to explore Louise Hay's teachings on self-love and how to let go of the things that are holding you back. We'll look at practical steps you can take today to start loving yourself more, and we'll tackle some of the challenges you might face along the way. But before we dive in, I want you to know something important. This journey of self-love isn't always easy. There might be days when you struggle, when old habits creep back in, and that's okay. Remember, we're not aiming for perfection here. We're aiming for progress. Every small step you take towards loving yourself is a victory worth celebrating. So, are you ready to start this journey? Are you ready to learn how to fill your own cup first so you can live a happier, more fulfilling life? Great. Let's get started by getting to know the amazing woman behind these teachings, Louise Hay. Louise Hay wasn't always the self-help guru we know her as today. In fact, her early life was far from easy. Born in 1926 in Los Angeles, Louise faced many challenges growing up. She experienced abuse as a child, dropped out of high school, and became a single mother at a young age. But instead of letting these hardships define her, Louise used them as stepping stones to create a better life for herself and others. In her 40s, Louise discovered the power of positive thinking and how our thoughts can shape our reality. This was a turning point in her life. She started studying different spiritual and metaphysical works and began to develop her own philosophy of self-love and healing. One of Louise's biggest contributions was her belief in the mind-body connection. She taught that many physical ailments are linked to our mental and emotional states. For example, she believed that resentment, criticism, and guilt could lead to physical health problems. But here's the good news. If negative thoughts can make us sick, positive thoughts and self-love can help us heal. Louise's ideas really took off in the 1980s when she published her book, You Can Heal Your Life. This book became a bestseller, selling over 50 million copies worldwide. In it, Louise shared her techniques for positive thinking, affirmations, and self-love. She showed people how to replace negative self-talk with positive affirmations and how to forgive themselves and others to find inner peace. But Louise didn't just write about these ideas, she lived them. When she was diagnosed with cancer, she used her own techniques of positive thinking and self-love, along with traditional medical treatments, to heal herself. This personal experience made her teachings even more powerful and relatable. Throughout her life, Louise continued to spread her message of self-love and healing. She founded Hay House, a publishing company dedicated to self-help and inspirational books. She also held workshops and lectures around the world, touching the lives of millions of people with her gentle wisdom and compassion. Louise Hay passed away in 2017 at the age of 90, but her teachings continue to inspire people today. Why? Because they're simple, practical, and they work. In a world that often tells us we're not good enough, Louise's message of self-love and acceptance is like a breath of fresh air. So why are Louise Hay's teachings still relevant today? Well, think about it. We live in a world where we're constantly bombarded with messages about how we should look, act, and feel. Social media shows us carefully curated versions of other people's lives, making us feel like we're falling short. Stress and anxiety are on the rise. In this environment, Louise's teachings about self-love and positive thinking are more important than ever. Louise Hay showed us that we have the power to change our lives by changing our thoughts. She taught us that we are worthy of love and respect simply because we exist. And she reminded us that healing, whether it's physical, emotional, or spiritual, starts with loving ourselves. As we go through the rest of this guide, keep Louise's journey in mind. Remember that she faced many challenges in her life, just like we all do. But she found a way to love herself and heal, and she believed that everyone else could do the same. Now let's dive deeper into why loving yourself is so important. Let's talk about why loving yourself is so important. It might seem selfish at first, but trust me, it's anything but that. Think of self-love as the foundation of a house. If the foundation isn't strong, the whole house is shaky. In the same way, if you don't have a strong foundation of self-love, every other part of your life can feel unstable. When you love yourself, you set the standard for how others should treat you. If you don't value yourself, how can you expect others to value you? It's like you're sending out a signal to the world saying, "This is how I deserve to be treated." When you love and respect yourself, you naturally attract relationships, whether friendships or romantic partnerships, that are healthier and more fulfilling. Self-love also gives you the strength to set boundaries. You know that feeling when someone asks you to do something you really don't want to do, but you say yes anyway? That often comes from a lack of self-love. When you truly value yourself, you find it easier to say no to things that don't serve you, and yes to things that do. You start putting your own needs and well-being first, not in a selfish way, but in a way that allows you to be the best version of yourself. Here's another way to think about it. Have you ever been on an airplane? Before takeoff, the flight attendant always says that in case of an emergency, you should put on your own oxygen mask before helping others. Why? Because if you run out of oxygen yourself, you won't be able to help anyone else. Self-love works the same way. By taking care of yourself first, you're actually putting yourself in a better position to take care of others. Let's look at a simple example. Imagine you're having a really bad day. You're feeling down on yourself, criticizing everything you do. Now imagine trying to be there for a friend who needs support. It's going to be much harder to give them the love and encouragement they need when you're feeling so negative about yourself. But if you've been practicing self-love, if you've been kind and compassionate with yourself, you'll have so much more positivity to share with others. Self-love also impacts your goals and dreams. When you love yourself, you believe you're worthy of good things. You're more likely to go after that promotion, start that business, or pursue that hobby you've always been interested in. You stop settling for less than you deserve in your career, your relationships, and your life in general. It's also worth noting that self-love can have a big impact on your physical health. When you love yourself, you're more likely to take care of your body. You might find yourself wanting to eat healthier foods, exercise more, or get enough sleep. Not because you're punishing yourself or trying to look a certain way, but because you genuinely want to take care of this amazing person, you. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Isn't all this focus on myself a bit selfish? It's a common worry, but here's the truth. Self-love isn't about becoming self-centered or narcissistic. It's not about thinking you're better than everyone else. It's simply about recognizing your own worth and treating yourself with the same kindness and respect that you'd offer to a good friend. In fact, when you love yourself, you often become more loving towards others. You have more love to give, more patience, more understanding. You're less likely to judge others harshly because you're not judging yourself harshly. Your relationships become more authentic because you're not constantly seeking approval or validation from others. You're giving it to yourself. Louise Hay put it beautifully when she said, "Remember, you have been criticizing yourself for years, and it hasn't worked. Try approving of yourself and see what happens." This is the essence of self-love. It's about choosing to be on your own side, to be your own cheerleader instead of your harshest critic. Self-love is also a journey, not a destination. It's not something you achieve once and then you're done. It's a practice, something you choose to do every day. Some days it might feel easy, other days it might be more challenging. But every time you choose to be kind to yourself, to speak to yourself with love, to treat yourself with respect, you're strengthening that foundation of self-love. As we go through the rest of this guide, keep in mind that everything we're going to talk about, from letting go of negative patterns to using positive affirmations, all comes back to this core idea of loving yourself. It's the key that unlocks so many doors in life. So how do you know if you're not loving yourself enough? What are the signs that you might need to work on your self-love? That's exactly what we're going to explore next. By recognizing these signs, you'll be better equipped to start your journey towards greater self-love and all the benefits that come with it. Certainly. Here's the continuation of the script, covering the next 3 sections from the outline. Let's talk about some signs that might indicate you're not loving yourself as much as you could. It's important to recognize these signs because awareness is the first step towards positive change. One common sign is constantly putting others' needs before your own. Now, don't get me wrong, being kind and helpful to others is wonderful. But if you find yourself always saying yes to others, even when it means sacrificing your own well-being, that's a red flag. For example, if you're always staying late at work to help your coworkers, but never have time for your own hobbies or relaxation, you might be neglecting self-love. Another sign is negative self-talk. Pay attention to how you speak to yourself in your mind. Do you often criticize yourself harshly? Do you call yourself names or put yourself down? If your inner voice is constantly telling you that you're not good enough, smart enough, or attractive enough, that's a clear sign that your self-love could use some work. Perfectionism can also be a sign of lacking self-love. If you set impossibly high standards for yourself and beat yourself up when you don't meet them, you're not showing yourself the love and compassion you deserve. Remember, making mistakes is part of being human. It's how we learn and grow. Difficulty in accepting compliments is another indicator. When someone pays you a compliment, do you brush it off or immediately disagree? If you can't believe or accept positive feedback from others, it might be because you're not seeing your own worth. Constantly comparing yourself to others is also a sign of low self-love. In today's world of social media, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking everyone else's life is perfect. But remember, you're seeing their highlight reel, not their behind the scenes. If you find yourself always feeling less than when you look at others, it's time to focus more on loving yourself. People-pleasing is another behavior that often stems from a lack of self-love. If you're always trying to make everyone else happy, even at the expense of your own happiness, you're not valuing yourself enough. It's okay to consider others, but not to the point where you lose yourself in the process. Neglecting self-care is a big sign that you're not loving yourself enough. This doesn't just mean skipping bubble baths or face masks. It means not taking care of your basic needs, like getting enough sleep, eating well, or going to the doctor when you're sick. If you're always putting these things off because you're too busy taking care of everyone else, that's a clear sign you need to prioritize self-love. Staying in toxic relationships, whether romantic or friendships, is another indicator. If you tolerate disrespect, manipulation, or abuse from others, it often means you don't value yourself enough to demand better treatment. Lastly, if you find it hard to celebrate your own achievements, that's a sign you might need to work on self-love. Do you downplay your successes? Do you feel uncomfortable or undeserving when good things happen to you? Learning to acknowledge and celebrate your own worth is a crucial part of self-love. Now, if you recognize yourself in some of these signs, don't worry. It doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. We all struggle with self-love sometimes. The important thing is that you're here, ready to learn and grow. Recognizing these patterns is the first step towards changing them. Now that we've identified some signs of lacking self-love, let's dive into Louise Hay's wisdom on how to cultivate more love for ourselves. Louise had many powerful teachings, but we're going to focus on 4 key ideas that can really transform your relationship with yourself. The first key teaching is the power of positive affirmations. Louise believed that the thoughts we think and the words we speak create our experiences and our reality. She encouraged replacing negative self-talk with positive affirmations. An affirmation is a positive statement that you repeat to yourself, like, "I am worthy of love and respect," or "I approve of myself." At first, these might feel strange or even false, but Louise taught that by consistently repeating these positive statements, we can gradually change our beliefs about ourselves. Here's how Louise explained it. You have been criticizing yourself for years, and it hasn't worked. Try approving of yourself and see what happens. She believed that by consciously choosing loving thoughts about ourselves, we could counteract years of negative programming. The second key teaching is the mind-body connection. Louise firmly believed that our mental and emotional states affect our physical health. She taught that many physical ailments have their roots in mental patterns like resentment, criticism, and guilt. For example, she associated problems with the throat with difficulty in speaking up for oneself. But here's the empowering part. If negative thoughts can contribute to illness, positive thoughts can contribute to healing. Louise encouraged people to use affirmations specifically targeted to health issues. For instance, someone with digestive problems might use the affirmation, "I digest and assimilate all new experiences peacefully and joyously. The third key teaching is the importance of mirror work. This was one of Louise's most powerful techniques. She encouraged people to look into their own eyes in a mirror and say loving things to themselves. It might feel awkward at first, but Louise believed it was a powerful way to connect with yourself and build self-love. She suggested starting with simple statements like, "I love you," or "You are beautiful." The idea is to look at yourself with love and compassion, the way you would look at a dear friend or a small child. Over time, this practice can help you develop a more loving relationship with yourself. The fourth key teaching is about forgiveness. Louise believed that holding on to anger and resentment, whether towards others or ourselves, blocks our ability to love ourselves fully. She taught that forgiveness doesn't mean condoning harmful behavior. Instead, it's about releasing the negative emotions that are hurting us. Louise often said, "Forgiveness is for you, not for the other person." She believed that when we forgive, we free ourselves from the burden of negative emotions. This includes forgiving ourselves for past mistakes. Louise encouraged people to say, "I forgive myself for not being perfect," as a way to release self-criticism and cultivate self-love. These teachings might seem simple, but they're incredibly powerful when put into practice consistently. Louise Hay's approach to self-love isn't about grand gestures or dramatic changes. It's about small, daily acts of kindness and compassion towards ourselves. It's about changing the way we think and speak about ourselves, bit by bit, day by day. Remember, Louise herself went through many hardships in life. She developed these teachings not just from studying, but from her own experience of healing and transformation. She often said, "If I can do it, you can too." Her message was always one of hope and empowerment. Now that we've explored Louise Hay's key teachings on self-love, let's talk about an essential part of the self-love journey, letting go. You might be wondering, what does letting go have to do with loving myself? Well, it turns out, quite a lot. Letting go is about releasing things that no longer serve us. These could be negative thoughts, harmful beliefs, past hurts, or even relationships that drag us down. It's like cleaning out your closet. Just as you need to get rid of old, worn-out clothes to make room for new ones, you need to let go of old, negative patterns to make room for self-love and positivity. Louise Hay often talked about the importance of releasing the past. She said, "The point of power is always in the present moment." This means that no matter what happened in the past, you have the power right now to choose new thoughts and create a new reality for yourself. But to do that, you need to be willing to let go of old hurts and resentments. Think about it this way. If you're carrying a heavy backpack full of rocks, it's going to be hard to move forward, right? Those rocks are like negative beliefs, past hurts and resentments. They weigh you down and make it difficult to love yourself fully. Letting go is about taking those rocks out of your backpack, one by one. One of the biggest things we often need to let go of is the need for approval from others. Many of us grow up believing that we need to please everyone to be worthy of love. But trying to make everyone happy all the time is exhausting, and it often means neglecting our own needs and desires. Louise taught that true self-love comes from approving of yourself, not from seeking approval from others. Another thing we need to let go of is perfectionism. If you're always striving to be perfect, you're setting yourself up for constant disappointment. Nobody's perfect, and that's okay. Louise often said, "You are perfect just as you are." Letting go of the need to be perfect allows you to appreciate yourself as you are, flaws and all. Letting go also involves releasing negative self-talk. You know that critical voice in your head that's always pointing out your flaws and mistakes? It's time to let that go. Louise believed that this negative self-talk is often just old programming from childhood or society. It's not the truth about who you are. Letting go of these negative thoughts makes room for more loving, supportive self-talk. Sometimes, letting go means releasing relationships or situations that no longer serve your highest good. This doesn't mean you don't care about people. It means you care about yourself enough to surround yourself with positivity and support. Louise often said, "It's only a thought, and a thought can be changed." This applies to our thoughts about relationships too. If you've been holding onto a relationship out of fear or habit, it might be time to let go and make room for healthier connections. Letting go can also mean releasing grudges and resentments. Holding on to anger or hurt from the past doesn't punish the other person. It only hurts you. Louise taught that forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. When you forgive, you're not saying that what happened was okay. You're saying that you're ready to release the negative emotions and move forward. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds great, but how do I actually let go? Well, it's a process, and it takes practice. Louise suggested using affirmations like, "I release the past with ease," or "I am willing to let go." She also recommended writing letters that you don't send to people you're holding resentments against, expressing your feelings and then symbolically burning the letters as a way of releasing those emotions. Meditation and visualization can also be powerful tools for letting go. You might visualize yourself releasing balloons into the sky, each one carrying a worry or hurt that you're ready to let go of. Or you could imagine yourself standing by a river, placing leaves in the water with each leaf representing something you want to release, and watching them float away. Remember, letting go is not a one-time event. It's an ongoing process. You might need to let go of the same thing multiple times before it fully releases its hold on you, and that's okay. Be patient and gentle with yourself as you practice letting go. Letting go creates space in your life and in your heart. And in that space, self-love can grow and flourish. As Louise Hay said, "I do not fix problems. I fix my thinking. Then problems fix themselves." By letting go of what no longer serves you, you're creating room for new, positive experiences and deeper self-love. Certainly. Here are the remaining sections of the script, followed by a conclusion. Now that we understand the importance of self-love and letting go, let's dive into some practical steps you can take to start loving yourself more. Remember, self-love is a journey, not a destination. These steps are like signposts along that journey, guiding you towards a more loving relationship with yourself. First, start your day with positive affirmations. Louise Hay was a big believer in the power of affirmations, and for good reason. When you wake up, look in the mirror and say something kind to yourself. It could be as simple as, "I love you," or "You're going to have a great day." It might feel awkward at first, but stick with it. Over time, these positive messages will start to sink in. Next, practice gratitude. Each day, take a few moments to think about 3 things you're grateful for about yourself. Maybe you're grateful for your sense of humor, your kindness, or even just your ability to get out of bed in the morning. Focusing on what you appreciate about yourself helps shift your mindset towards self-love. Another practical step is to take care of your body. This doesn't mean you have to start an intense workout regime or go on a strict diet. It's about treating your body with kindness. Drink water when you're thirsty. Rest when you're tired. Move your body in ways that feel good to you. When you take care of your physical needs, you're sending a message to yourself that you matter. Learn to set boundaries. This is a crucial part of self-love. It's okay to say no to things that don't serve you or that drain your energy. Remember, every time you say no to something that doesn't align with your values or needs, you're saying yes to yourself. Forgive yourself for past mistakes. We all mess up sometimes. Instead of dwelling on your mistakes, try to learn from them and then let them go. Treat yourself with the same compassion you'd offer a good friend who made a mistake. Surround yourself with positivity. This includes both people and environments. Spend time with people who uplift and support you. Create spaces in your home that make you feel good. Even something as simple as putting up inspiring quotes or photos that make you smile can help foster self-love. Lastly, celebrate your achievements, no matter how small. Did you finish a task you've been putting off? Celebrate it. Did you try something new, even if it didn't work out perfectly? That's worth celebrating too. Acknowledging your efforts and successes, big and small, is a powerful way to build self-love. Affirmations are positive statements that can help you challenge and overcome negative thoughts and self-sabotaging behaviors. Louise Hay was a pioneer in using affirmations for personal growth and self-love. Let's explore some powerful affirmations you can use to boost your self-love. I love and accept myself exactly as I am. This affirmation reminds you that you are worthy of love and acceptance right now, not when you achieve certain goals or look a certain way. I am worthy of love, respect, and happiness. Use this affirmation to reinforce your inherent worthiness. You don't need to earn these things. They are your birthright. I choose to be kind to myself today. This affirmation sets an intention for how you'll treat yourself. It's a reminder that kindness to yourself is a choice you can make each day. I release all negative thoughts about myself. When you find yourself caught in negative self-talk, use this affirmation to let those thoughts go. I am becoming the best version of myself. This affirmation acknowledges that self-love is a journey. It celebrates your growth while accepting where you are right now. My body is a gift, and I cherish it. Use this to cultivate love and appreciation for your body, regardless of its shape, size, or abilities. Remember, the key to making affirmations work is repetition and belief. Say them out loud, write them down, or even record them and listen to them regularly. The more you repeat these positive messages, the more they'll start to replace negative beliefs about yourself. The path to self-love isn't always smooth. You might face challenges along the way, and that's completely normal. Let's talk about some common obstacles and how to overcome them. One challenge is dealing with setbacks. You might have days where you fall back into old patterns of negative self-talk or self-doubt. When this happens, be gentle with yourself. Remember, progress isn't linear. Treat these moments as opportunities to practice self-compassion. Another challenge is overcoming years of negative programming. If you've spent years being critical of yourself, it can take time to change those habits. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate small victories and remember that every positive thought is a step in the right direction. You might also face resistance from others. Not everyone in your life might understand your journey towards self-love. Some might even feel threatened by your growth. Remember, your self-love journey is for you, not for others. It's okay to set boundaries and surround yourself with supportive people. Comparing yourself to others is another common challenge. In the age of social media, it's easy to fall into the comparison trap. When you find yourself doing this, gently remind yourself that everyone's journey is unique. Focus on your own growth rather than measuring yourself against others. Lastly, you might struggle with feeling selfish for focusing on self-love. Remember, self-love isn't selfish. It's necessary. When you love yourself, you have more love to give to others. It's like putting on your own oxygen mask first in an airplane emergency. As we come to the end of our journey through Louise Hay's teachings on self-love, let's take a moment to reflect. We've explored the importance of loving yourself, learned how to recognize signs that we might need more self-love, and discovered practical steps to cultivate it in our daily lives. Remember, self-love isn't a destination, it's a journey. There will be ups and downs, challenges and triumphs. But with each step you take, with each affirmation you say, with each act of kindness towards yourself, you're building a stronger foundation of self-love. Louise Hay showed us that we have the power to transform our lives by changing our thoughts and loving ourselves unconditionally. She proved it in her own life, overcoming significant challenges to become a beacon of hope and inspiration for millions. As you move forward from here, carry these teachings with you. Practice self-love every day, in small ways and big. Be patient and gentle with yourself. Celebrate your progress. And always remember Louise's powerful words. You have been criticizing yourself for years, and it hasn't worked. Try approving of yourself and see what happens. Your journey to self-love starts now, with this moment, with the next thought you think about yourself. Make it a loving one. You are worthy, you are valuable, and you deserve all the love in the world, starting with your own. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of self-love. May your path forward be filled with compassion, joy, and an ever-growing love for yourself. Remember, in the words of Louise Hay, you are worth loving, you are worth caring for. Now go out there and show yourself just how true that is.